I actually think I found the real life villa for the map villa on Rainbow Six Siege. I have gone down so many rabbit holes for this map, and its real life story all comes down to this room. Though this may seem obvious because he has a whole room dedicated to him, but you'd be surprised how long it took me to get to this conclusion and find. Now, Galileo is a very, very famous person in history, but there were so many different art pieces that actually led to me solving and then coming down to finding the actual villa. You see, I spent most of the week doing reverse images on Google to figure out all the famous paintings in this map. And at first I actually thought it was all about this artist because there are so many paintings done by him. But once I started connecting the paintings back to Galileo himself, a whole new world opened up in my research. You see, this famous painting, which is actually a person named Maffeo, who ends up in the future being Pope Urban. Now, Pope Urban used to support Galileo, but he ended up being one of the people that put him on house arrest till his death. Now, this portrait, also a famous man in history, well, guess what? He recommended Galileo for a university position. This artist that created so many of these portraits and so many of these famous paintings in Villa, he used to live with Francesco del Monte. Del Monte happens to be good friends and a huge supporter of Galileo. It is even stated that his experimental beliefs actually encouraged this artist to experiment with novel pigments in his paint, which he became notorious and famous for. Fun side note, one of his first paintings was actually of Mary Magdalene, and she's tied to the Pazis for Assassin's Creed. Galileo was also very good friends with this famous sculptor, which we can see hints of his art throughout this villa. And fun note there's actually this whole conspiracy about him and Galileo conspiring against the Vatican, which it is dictated in the famous movie Angels and Demons, starring Tom Hanks. But at the end of this rabbit hole, I learned that about 80% of the art is connected to Galileo, whether it be he knew the person or inspired the person, and it's all encompassing the Renaissance movement. And then when I looked up villas that Galileo lived in, I found an amazing piece of history. You see, Galileo lived in this villa from 1617 to 1631. He specifically picked this villa because it was up on a mountain and he could do his research with his telescope. And it being up on a mountain, and it looked over Florence. And I see a lot of these traits in this villa on R6. But the magical part to me is the fact that he actually wrote the dialogue for the maximum systems in this villa, which has become such a key point in history, not only because he became the godfather of astronomy, but because of his belief system. He actually died a heretic. And honestly, his story is so fascinating, and I cannot wait to tell it on Sunday.